Some of y'all have noticed that I haven't been uploading as much, and it's pretty hard to get through an entire video without choking up a little bit. I'm having trouble with extended talking. We have an immediate family member, which is Emily's brother, that is in diabetic shock and now coma, and it's not looking very good. So I want to be there for her through this time, and if that means stepping away, making sure I'm with her longer, making sure she's not alone, that sort of stuff, I'm gonna be doing so. That being said, there is a reason why Emily and I worked so hard to get in better shape. She's at the best shape of her life. I'm headed towards one of the best shapes of my life, and I'm going to continue towards that. And I just want to say, take better care of yourself day to day if you can. There's a reason why once people do seem to make it, they focus so much on health. For me, I hadn't made it yet, but I was at a point where I got married, and that just made me realize, oh snap, I want to live longer with her. You might find something like that later in your life, or maybe you never do. I don't know. It's really up to you to live your life how you want to. We're not going to get too existentially deep, I promise. But seriously, thanks for being here with me. Thanks for worrying about me. Thanks for checking in, and I really do appreciate it. That being said, let's go ahead and get into today's market watch, starting with Elemental Hero Shining Neos Wingman. It would be impossible to miss the heroes doing it big at the WCQ. It was one of the biggest stories, and the market did speak to that. I did say, even though the show's over with the WCQ, typically there's going to be moments and spikes right after, and it appears more so the market's mostly trending towards the future metas and trying to be ban list proof, but here heroes did steal the show a little bit, and rightfully so. You see the market take a crack at it in that moment. Also with extra hero Infernal Devicer, it's only out of Dual Overload, the one printing, skyrocketing on up towards $10. Now you can use code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly over at Head to Head Battle Shop. They have two new sleeves up, Jujutsu Kaisen inspired, with Susu on there, and then also the Nezuko sleeves are pretty nice. They match an earlier deck box, but for me, I still gotta say the Albaz playmat does it for me. So again, code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly, work site wide. And also Tapio Cards has up a new deck box that looks really freaking nice with that cybernetic cat girl on here, you know, the good old IP, along with a certain unicorn being ridden into battle instead of a bike. It looks really good. I think they've outdone themselves. Code What'sGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel directly works over here as well. Now, what would it be without, you know, heroes going crazy if a little Stardust Synchro stuff didn't too? We've got all the main protagonists going crazy. Yugi's tournament. There is the Dark Magician and Blue Eyes decks coming out, but those are OCG TCG, meaning, well, not even TCG, it's OCG Ian, which is going to be OCG English, which will not be a meta impacting thing. I don't think they're going to print original cards for it. Maybe they could, but it's mostly to port cards to English in the OCG territories, which we can't use in TCG territories. They'll probably have the different card back like the old OCG cards, but we will not be able to use those in our tournaments, most likely. When it comes down to it, though, back on subject, Stardust Synchron is skyrocketing for the secret rare that looks oh so nice. This is one that I've called a penny stonk before. It did have its time where it was, you know, cheaper right out of the tins, and then you have the Synchro meta coming. It's spiking back up basically because we're almost there. You do have a much cheaper option in the ultra rare. It just doesn't look as nice, but there you go. Budget foil option still nice to have, but it also has been seeing its own mini bubbles and spikes here, but much more affordable. If you're wanting the max rarity, you're paying big in Synchro max rarity now too. Peaceful Planet Calorium. I've heard that this is the pack tax, so pack seems to be on Mana Diem, hyping it up a bit, and it's a good deck and it's getting its new support, so it would have been hyped anyways. You don't have to blame just a YouTuber featuring it, but he does carry a lot of weight when it comes to talking about meta decks. He's, you know, competing, trying to go to Worlds twice in the WCQ, made top cut also in the point playoffs, and was rocking it with Melfi. So when he talks rogue decks or not the top meta deck, he does seem to have a good radar for it, and he is speaking very well of this deck. So there it goes, up towards 35 and quickly towards 40 on the front page, with a ton of sales hitting back up into that range, and look at it freaking go. It is pretty wild. Also, for the deck and, you know, other decks that would want to play it, Bestial Dissipator, good old Peter Griffin memes. I can never get over them with this guy. It's towards $15 again at this point and slowly climbing, so it might be good to get this sooner than later, mainly because even though we're in the off season, as we showed, the off season is shorter than ever, so there's going to be multiple different little hype trains during it, but we're going to get off of that slowdown very quick. And when it comes to these cards, they're not likely to get reprints anytime soon. These are some of the most recent sets. They're not slated for anything, so I could definitely see them doing well, although there is a little bit, there's that little structure deck happening that's going to have Starfrost themed in it, but that might be a little more random and not a full-blown theme, right? It is very interesting, though, if you haven't seen. Speaking of Starfrost, the Starlight rare is starting to gain those higher rated sales here. One towards 300 even is crazy, but there's plenty at 265 where it had actually been cooling off towards after its one initial buyout. So these sales are actually towards max recent. If you scroll through, you can see plenty were at the under 200 range. So it is hitting back to this 300, I think, ties one of its max sales ever on TCG Player if you go through. TG is getting new support, and that's kind of wild with what it actually does. I think there's like a soul charge. The Hyper Librarian Secret Rare from 5D's collection is inexpensive. This is one I've said you should have for plant format, but those cards that are nice and max rarity for past formats becoming relevant once again, even if, you know, it doesn't pan out all that way. People are super hyped for the support right now. It's moments like these where it's nice to have that kind of stuff. I was talking to someone about TG Rush Rhino, and apparently it was a YCS only battle pack prize, but I remember getting some of those at my locals. Maybe they were able to pick up excess pricing from an in-area YCS back in the day, though, because they did have a lot less of ones like this and JD and Shine Ball. I'm not sure exactly how the distribution works, but I do know ones like this, there's a lot less of them. So it's interesting that it actually is a little bit above market price too, but a very rare version of this card. I'm not sure that it'll be played in the modern, though. The Jump Hyper Librarian going also, and maybe one of the most interesting conversations is this auction on the prize card secret rare, which is extremely rare and came in a 3-set. People would kind of split this one away like they would Dark Lord Asmodeus, because it was the most playable one at the time, and then Superbia, or what? No, Superbia was the most playable, right? But back in the day, people would split them up basically in order to play them. I think I went in my head to the Dueling Book Judge name, but it's Superbia, I think, that most people wanted. When it comes down to TG Hyper Librarian, it's definitely a really cool prize card that not a lot of people even know about was a prize card for a little bit of a run. And then, you know, the Jump promo used to be super expensive back in the day. If you played during that, you might have scrambled for one. This being 4,000 with 7 days left, though. It was already 35. This is a little early bidding war. I wonder if new support is enough to actually influence a multi-$1,000 auction, or if it's just going to be business as usual when it's on this level, because people, they probably would rather settle, you know, if they're not in a prize card hunt, for the $30 copy on its hype bubble rather than the $4,000+ copy. But you never know in today's world what might end up getting bid on from somebody excited for something. Purely is going crazy. Pack performed with that, like we said. It's getting new support. It's very exciting. It's got an ultimate rare coming in the OTS. Unlikely to get hit on the list. Unlikely to be reprinted anytime soon. Probably next year's 10s and other reprint sets or something like that. And you can see it was chilling out 17. Started creeping, and there it goes. Really crazy. Lowest listed are towards 38, 40 quickly. It's just the one that never stops getting bought out. It's not the new rival on Market Watch like Dragon Maids, but man, the cute tax along with the playability here. And if we're talking amazing defenders, remember, the Rescue Aces are also doing really strong in this set. So new support, you know, we talk about that graph all the time. It's like, new support announced, it spikes. It dips back down. Oh, it's almost here. Gotta get it. You didn't get it. Well, it was down, you doubters. Yeah, now you catch on to the hype train. It's such a ridiculous cycle that we see time and time and time again, and it's gonna probably do that dance and show until I stop doing market watches one day because I physically can't. When it comes to this, though, yeah, it's wild. It's crazy, like, just to see people go for it. It's fighting back for its top spot realistically, though, versus Ace Hydrant. So do the bidding war. Make sure which one's gonna be at the top. I can't imagine that mentality. I gotta make sure it's on top of TCG player, like you're some idol fan, K-pop. But yeah, bad jokes aside, I think that both decks have a lot of potential going in, but I feel like Rescue Ace is that one that's been really bubbling under the surface that a lot of people believe in, and a ton of money was spent on early. We'll wait to see how that pans out on the TCG. Also, I always think about Melfi's whenever I think about Purely. Sometimes I even type it in on accident. These are mad low listings, all sub 100 on the holos. They are those ones that I think people could make original holos, by the way. There are like reprints or max rarity in the case of Joyous, or Melfi of the Force. You have Joyous here too. It's hollow but not as crazy, and then you do have the cheaper options around here, you know, commons. But seriously, max rarity Melfi, I could see somebody making binderfuls of this over time and that being part of it. I know somebody did do that with Super Melfi Mommies on my Discord. Why? They showed stacks of them. But when it comes down to it, yeah, just be aware these are maybe a bit more than you thought they were, and kind of bubbling there in price, and there are very few cards away from being actually viable. Finally, number 90, Galaxy Ice Photon Lord. Now, this graph looks crazy, but it's only a $5 increase, which is about 10%. It's selling at about 55 right now, but it's repeating a little bit of history. Oh my gosh, a reprint set's coming. Oh, we better start getting rid of them. Oh, they get reprinted. Oh, it goes up in price. That's this graph. That's exactly what it is. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit looser today in terms of how I'm commentating this. It's more like a stream, so my professionalism, oh no. But it's just so funny to me that you can see it happen again and again and again in one single year graph. The reprint set's coming! Get rid of them! Oh, we're back in! I saw this on an inboard during the YCS. It's actually seeing a little bit of play. 55's ridiculous. Come another reprint set in it, not Spike, want, we'll see. It just doesn't feel like it's getting a reprint anytime soon, but maybe Konami will eventually catch on, and it's not Air Neos 2.0, let's hope. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversations overall, and take better care of yourselves. I'm not your dad, but make sure you drink some water or something at least while I chug my diet sodas.